Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So, I wanted to talk to you guys today about Daymare 1998. So, last night I managed to finish it, and oh, good God, 2 streams in a row, and it was, for lack of a better word, it was shit. It was shit. Um, Now I don't know if I missed out on something, but looking back at the trailers for the game, there's a number of cutscenes that don't seem to be present in game. And not only that, this game suffers from a lot of issues that makes me wonder how the hell this game got a mostly positive review. So I figured, for those of you curious, because I've had people ask me, why is this game so bad? Why do you think this is bad? I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown why I think this game is bad to some degree. I don't want to say it's bad, first of all. I don't want to say it's a terrible game. I don't want to be mean like that because I feel like this is the team's probably first actual project. This is the closest thing to a low budget Resident Evil that we're going to see. For what the team did, they tried. I will give them that credit. They did try. But for what the game is, it's trouble, to say the least. I guess just to make life easier, let's break down the story. This is where my biggest problem is. Shitty writing, poor grammar, it's just plot holes that don't make sense. For one, you start off the game playing as this guy named Liev. He's part of this group called Hades. They're basically our umbrella security service. He's sent in to secure a virus sample for the company. Apparently the virus got out into this facility, and you have to clear the facility. Or not necessarily clear the facility, but just take a virus sample and get the hell out. What ends up happening is Liev is just this overly aggressive asshole for no reason. I guess they tried to put him off as like a loyalist to the company, or like for some reason he has a problem with Sandman, and they don't explain exactly why. Like apparently one previous operation, Sandman, another operator that's with him, saved Liev. Liev got shot and he was bleeding, and Sandman saved him. And for some reason, he's always held resentment. They don't really explain a whole lot. So they get back to the chopper, and everything seems going good. And now, apparently, there's a virus or something that they had to secure called Pollux. Honestly, that sounds a step away from a derogatory term. Sandman goes to the back of the helicopter to see what the hell's going on, and Liev slaps him in the face with some Pollux, which I guess makes him, like, superhuman. And they end up throwing Raven, another operator, out of the helicopter. And the helicopter goes down. Liev survives. He's got his gas mask on, and the gas that they were securing ended up falling off the helicopter and infected the town below. So now, as Liev, we're fighting through the town. We're trying to get from A to B without getting infected because the gas mask can only take so much. And we end up getting the Sacred Heart Hospital, where Liev is waiting for a helicopter. And that's where he ends up running into Sandman, who is apparently infected with the Pollux, but is unmutated in some way. Like, for some reason, this guy is, like, just the Hulk without being mutated, if that makes sense. He's still him, he's just cut up. And he rips Liev's arms off. Then he begins to eat him, like a zombie would. So then we're introduced to another character named Sam, who is a fire watcher. And this is where the game kind of, in my opinion, it's already weird, but it already takes a turn. Not Sandman. Oh my god, I'm getting off topic. Sam has mental issues. He needs medication to keep himself from losing his mind. And as we proceed forward, we see that he constantly has these hallucinations. He'll see images of just random animals, and at times throughout the game, zombies will jump out at him, but they're not really there. So when these fake zombies grab hold, they spit on him, but they don't hurt him, which is honestly, in my opinion, a waste of ammo and a waste of time. It's just really annoying. Sam ends up making it back to his house. He drives there because his wife's not responding. And upon entering the house, he finds Sandman. This is prior to the events of the hospital. Finds Sandman in his house, choking out his wife, and then he throws Sam out a window. Sam goes back in the house after Sandman steals his car, and he finds his wife is dead on the floor, missing an arm. So, for some reason, Sandman has a hard-on for ripping people's arms off. Now, the wife, from what I could tell, is a very thin woman. Like, she's the kind of chick that if a gust of wind hit her, it'd knock her on her ass. So, Sandman really didn't have much resistance against her. Or she wasn't able to resist against him, I should say. Now, one thing I've noticed with Sam's voice actor is I don't think English is his first language. So, a number of times, his lines were not correct. I can't remember the exact line, but it was something to the tune of, like, he's going to the hospital, and so will he. And it's like, wait, don't you mean so will I? It was something along that line, but it was, like, the actor kept getting he and I mixed up, I've noticed. Instead of referring to himself, he'll refer to somebody else twice. They're gonna go over there, and so will they. Like, no, dude, so will I. He kept doing this, I noticed. And not only that, he begins to have hallucinations of his dead wife, a ghost basically telling him to do stuff. My problem, like I said, with the hallucinations is that they just kind of come out of left field. They really don't offer much in the way of, like, changes to gameplay. They don't really affect gameplay other than the fact that a few zombies will jump out. And even then, we can't tell whether or not these zombies in front of us are hallucinations or they're actually zombies until we shoot them. So if you're like me, where you go ahead, pull out a shotgun, think you're going to one-shot the guy, you end up one-shotting a fake zombie. So then you just wasted a shotgun shell, which shotguns are arguably not as available as pistol ammo. So you're wasting ammo on something that doesn't really hurt you. So at some point, now mind you, like I said, frail woman gets killed by Sandman. Apparently a doctor managed to sedate and restrain Sandman. Sorry, I had to think about that for a minute. Sam makes his way through the hospital, finds out the doctor has him, makes threats to let him in, and the doctor's like, well, listen, look, you do a couple jobs for me, and I will let you kill Sandman, that's fine. The problem with this part was that it's very indirect, and that's another problem I have with this game. I'll get more into detail, but the game does not really give you much direction. You kind of have to hope you know what you're doing. Or hope that it's obviously in front of you. Or hope the character makes point of it, but which they don't often do. So, you go do these tasks, and sure enough, Sandman breaks out, kills the doctor. Character is all pissed off. And then we play as Raven, who somehow survived falling out of a helicopter and landing in a skylight. Landing through a skylight, that's it. Now, my problem with this is, sure, okay, maybe if the helicopter's close enough to the roof, maybe he could have survived. Sure. But why does his player model not reflect the fact that he fell out of a fucking helicopter? Why does he not have a limp? Why is he not bleeding? Why is he not scratched up? This is a pet peeve of mine. But fine, I'll accept it. Whatever. He gets out of this wreck, and he decides he's got to go find the helicopter crash. Fights his way through the city. We have a couple of bullshit puzzles that we had to deal with. One thing that really annoyed me, there was this puzzle with the fountain, and it was like, oh yeah, we have hunters to the north and shipping to the south. Cool, you're looking at the plaque that tells you this. Plaque literally says north, south, east, and west. But then, for some ungodly reason, it's actually reversed. So, in the case of it being north and south, north is actually south, and south is actually north, and then east is actually west. So, yeah, you have to mess with this in order to understand. Like, the game makes you play around with shit for you to understand what they're trying to go with. Not even Resident Evil does bullshit like this, okay? They're usually a lot more on point, because they know people just want to get to zombie killing. So, after managing to fight your way through the city, you end up in a subway tunnel, which leads you to fighting some zombie that can kind of poof in and out. After dealing with him, we end up at a dam that is apparently the company's headquarters. I don't know why any company has a headquarters within a dam. I guess they're trying to be super secretive. And from there, our character manages to contact Sandman, and they both agree to get to a helicopter pad. At that point, then we take back control of Sam, who overhears this and decides he's got to barrel his way through a horde of zombies throughout the city in order to get to Sandman and Raven. I almost forgot the characters' names. Now, after charging through the city, he manages to make it there. All we know is he makes it to the dam. Then we take back control of Raven, and now he's fighting his way through a zombie-infested facility. We end up running into, I guess you could say, a lab area where this new zombie appears. This easiest way I could explain it, it's like a Nemesis knockoff. It's literally Nemesis's retarded cousin. So the doctor's like, oh, I can't help you. You're going to have to hold him off till I can stop the facility or whatever. So you fight him off, and he supposedly dies. You make it up to the doctor who talked to you, and he's like, yeah, I have to stay here and let the place blow up so that way we stop the outbreak. Whatever. Fuck him, right? Move on. And we end up finding this damn thing is still alive, of course, because why wouldn't it be? And ever so slowly, it's creeping on us. And we have to run through the facility, get to an elevator. It's at that moment, once we get to the elevator, that's when he decides to charge us, and now we have to kind of evade around him. Bullshit is, this dude has a range of like 5 feet. So even if you have a good gap in between you, he can still grab you and kill you, which is absolute bullshit. So you have to stun him in order to get around him. Sometimes, I've noticed with this game, hitboxes don't work well. It either works in your favor, or it doesn't work in your favor. So either your hitbox is like 5 feet wide, and the zombies completely, or I'm sorry, like 3 inches wide, and the zombies completely miss you. Or it works in against you where their hitboxes is so tiny, you're spraying ammo and missing every shot. Or it decides to be fucking huge, and the zombies can just grab hold of you like a yard away for whatever reason. It very inconsistent. So make it up the elevator. We get up to the helipad, and sure enough, this zombie is there. It comes out that this zombie is apparently Liev for some reason. We would think it's Sandman, considering the fact that the man was infected with the Pollux virus. No, apparently it's Liev. I don't know how having your arms ripped off and then consumed means that you're going to mutate? Like, where did that come from? He was not infected, so why did he turn? He just turned, for whatever reason. And Sandman's perfectly fine. After killing Liev, Sandman is like, oh, you have the antivirus, right? So he takes it, injects himself with it, and then talks about how he's a freak and that Liev turned him into this freak. And it's like, dude, you're more or less normal, other than the fact that, you know, you're eating people, you're cut up, and you manage to survive a few bullet wounds, but other than that, you're more or less normal. So I don't see what kind of a freak you are. Sure enough, Liev gets back up, because why wouldn't he? Sandman knocks us out, and tells us that there's no more fighting for us, we gotta stop. All of a sudden, Liev just disappeared. He's just gone, and Sandman's still there. So somehow Sandman killed Liev? They don't explain that one. And after Liev is either dead or just gone, Sam finally shows up, drawing a gun on both Sandman and Raven. Raven orders him to put the gun down. Sam is having a psychotic break. He's seeing his dead wife talk to him, telling him how he failed her, that he let her die, that he has to kill this guy. And Sandman apologizes to him, saying, I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do. I didn't want it to go like that. I'm sorry, there was a frail woman. You tore her arm off, and I believe, if I remember correctly, he ate her too. What? I'm sorry, that's like if I went ahead, shot someone 13 times in the face, and during the court trial I said, listen, it happened, man. I didn't want to have to shoot him 15 times in the face after he was already dead. Like, it just happened. No, that's not an argument. Like, if she had a knife on her, or she had a gun in her hand, and he killed her out of self-defense, maybe. There was no sign of self-defense. He just murdered her, and then stole Sam's truck. It's absolute bullshit. Sam is having a psychotic break, and he's trying to tell himself that she's not real. Like, he's trying to kind of, like, differentiate reality from fiction. And Sandman's like, you gotta fight it. You gotta fight it. Yes, because apparently a man who takes medication can fight a psychotic break without medication. So apparently, the pharmaceutical company's been lying to us, ladies and gentlemen. If you have psychotic problems, you can just fight it. You don't need meds. Just fight your problems. No, it doesn't work like that. So things finally come to a head, and everything cuts to black. You hear a gunshot, and that's it. That's where the game ends. Now, I didn't stream this part because I didn't realize that they would pull Marvel Studios and have like an after credit scene. I didn't realize that was a thing. So we now end up playing as the narrator, who says that his plan went perfectly and everything went to plan and there's nobody to tell the tale left. Who the fuck are you? You were not a part of this game. Like, yes, he narrated the game, the cleaner narrated the game, but he did nothing. He didn't get in contact with anybody. He didn't talk to anybody. He didn't send anybody in. He didn't stop anybody. He didn't send weapons to help anyone. He did nothing! He just narrated the game, and now all of a sudden his plan went perfectly. What the fuck are you talking about? There are a number of plot holes throughout this game that it's like they throw out rules that don't exist anymore. They ignore mechanics, I've noticed. And on top of that, like I said, the story just... They'll add background to characters that I don't even remember, like almost implying that this character is going to die. Like in the helicopter scene after they've secured the virus, the two of them are sitting there, Sandman and Raven are having a conversation like, "You did good, kid. I know what you're capable of. I know what you did back then, what you had to do." Like, why do we care? You're just basically making me believe that you're going to end up dying. Like, what? But enough about the story. Now on to, I guess you could say, gameplay issues. For one, like I said, hitboxes are very inconsistent at times. Another thing I noticed is, or rather, I appreciate what they tried to do, reload. Not a lot of games did this. It was a great idea, poor implementation. Essentially, for your pistol, you would have to take your magazine, right? Reload the mag, and then load your gun. Normally in Resident Evil, you just need the gun and the ammo and you're done. In this case, you need the gun, the ammo, and the magazine, and you need spare magazines. Otherwise, you have to go and combine the ammo with your gun in order to reload. And at times, it's not the most convenient if a zombie's running at you, which is another problem because at times zombies are either very slow or decide, you know what, I'm going to be an Olympic runner and rush you. So you either have no time to reload or you have all day to reload, which is very annoying. During boss fights, I've noticed, they say, fuck the reload system, just drop your mag. We have a box full of spare ammo just sitting there waiting for you, which is convenient, but it makes me think that they didn't think out their reload system effectively, that it was just more of a fuck it and go system. They threw it in to make it a little bit more fun, they thought they were doing something different, and then realized, oh hey, we didn't balance it properly for boss fights, so we're just going to leave ammo there for the player. Honestly, in my opinion, for the Liev fight when we first ran into him, I feel like what they should have done is, instead of leaving us ammo, they should have made him slow down. They should have made him only be able to walk, increase damage, and increase his health, but add that tension. You know, he's coming, we only have a few seconds to reload. The reality is you have more than enough time to reload, but it's building tension. They should have done something like that. For some reason, the man fucking sprints at you. So, they're like, screw it, instead of changing him, we're just going to leave ammo lying around for the player to constantly reload. Annoying in my opinion. It's a waste of a mechanic. Another thing that annoys me is that the way Resident Evil and many other games tell their story is through collectibles throughout the world, whether that be clipboards, files, documents, things like that. Majority of the documents throughout this game lead you to a website to read the document, as though either A, they didn't have enough time to add these files, or B, they decided to just make you go to their website for whatever reason. I don't know why they would make you do this. Like, for some reason, I have to play the game, find each of the documents that'll lead me to a website, and then I have to go to their website and then read the document? No! At the very least, have me read the documents in-game, like many other games would have you do. I don't understand why they did that. Again, it's a waste of time. Now, as more of a pet peeve, if anything, I also wasn't too much of a fan of their, I guess you could say, medical system. My problem with it was, like, okay, so for example, right, I feel like for survival horror games, Resident Evil set a standard, right? So when it comes down to combining items, right? Typically, it's like red, yellow, and green mixed together, or green and green, or red and green. Like, there's certain... It's pretty basic. It's just this color matches with this color. I think that's pretty simple enough. For some reason, in my opinion, I just didn't pick up their medical system. Because, like, there were so many different items I think you had like 4 or 5 different types of medical items. I think there was epinephrine, I think if I'm pronouncing that right. Then you had psycho drops or mental drops. Um, then you had some medical syringe, I think. I can't remember what it was. Maybe morphine, if I remember correctly. Then something for your precision, and something else for armor, I guess. They had like 5 or 6 different types of syringes that you could mix together. And it's like, couldn't you guys just make it simple? Like, I've used different ones, and it just didn't seem to change much. Like, you should have just had it as a health item. Like, that would just make more sense. 3 items mixed together to make a stronger health item. Done deal. Or use them individually for a weaker, but faster effect. Something as simple as that. Sometimes simplicity is best. My biggest gripe with this game. If I notice small issues, it pisses me off the most because it's so minor and basic. They had so many grammar issues, it's not even funny. I was joking around during the stream that they should hire me as a proofreader. Like, I can't remember what it was, but there was, again, something to the effect of, like, just to give you an idea, those moments where the game is loading and it gives, like, the text, right? It would say something, it has been a long time. Whoa, wait. It has been? Been? You guys couldn't have fucking read through your own shit and realized, oh, we copy and pasted the same word twice. Oopsies. Or realize they misspelt certain words. Like, Google! We have the technology! Oh my god. That drove me absolutely nuts seeing that. And then, like I said, the voice actors constantly saying the wrong lines or saying things that did not go with what the subtitles said. It happened more than once. I noticed it. It drove me nuts because I'm like, say what you're supposed to say, damn it! Like, it blows my mind that somehow this game has a mostly positive review on Steam. Like, I don't know who the hell is playing this game and thinks that it is a mostly positive game. I personally don't think so. I am very, very unsure if I want to even play the prequel. And looking at the prequel, it looks about the same. On top of that, for some reason, it seems like they're trying to take more of a Dead Space vibe to it, because for some reason, the protagonist that you play as seems to have more advanced tech than what we had in 1998. To be clear, this prequel takes place in 1994, so apparently 4 years ago, we had more advanced tech than we do now. So they better have an explanation for that, like maybe this is a lost unit that had the prototypes that were destroyed. I'll accept that. I'll accept that as an answer. And I also want to point out, and I'm just thinking back to this, like the plot holes in the story. The dam was set to explode, right? So Sandman knocks out Raven, and apparently that detonation just never happened. Like, we just fuck it, never happened. No helicopter, nothing. Just, it's fine. It's fine. Just, okay, cool. Another problem I have with Sam, especially Sam. Sam is my biggest problem. The reason why I have a problem with him is because they did not think out his character well enough. I think he actually had the potential to be a fantastic character, and they squandered it. It was a waste. He's a wasted character. Him having psychological issues, I feel like, could have been used to throw off certain aspects of the player's perception. I think they could have done it where maybe the game is known for audio cues, like, you know, hey, the zombies are on the corner, but because he's mentally unstable, you'll hear these audio cues, panic, and there's nothing there. Maybe because he's mentally unstable, the game will have items there that aren't actually there, so you go to pick it up, but it's not in your inventory. So because he's mentally unstable, you don't actually see these items. Like, instead of having zombies jump out and waste ammo, make it to where the player is uncertain of what they're looking at. Is this really in front of me? Is this actually happening? Am I actually hearing what's in front of me? There are scenes where you're in the hospital and things are burning. Maybe have bodies rushing at you that are burning, but then once you get away from them, they disappear. You know, there are certain things that they could have done to really add on to a horror effect to really make Sam's character pop. And they failed to do that. Another problem I had with Sam is that he's so driven by revenge, he doesn't seem to acknowledge the outbreak. He just knows there's zombies and doesn't give a fuck. Sure, I guess you could say anybody who, you know, is in love with their partner, they're gonna want revenge if somebody killed them, sure, but still, to some degree, you acknowledge a zombie apocalypse. You're still thinking about how you're gonna do this. So, you know, you're not gonna get revenge if you're dead. Like, he just does not acknowledge the fact that the zombies, like, the zombies are just a secondary to this game. Like, yeah, the zombies, whatever. You know, one guy's trying to be an asshole, another guy's trying to escape, another guy's trying to kill another guy because that guy killed his wife. There's stuff and things, you know what I mean? It's like, wait, so you guys don't care about the outbreak at all? And also, this is an airborne virus? So why is Raven not infected, right? Like, why is everybody around us infected, but not him? The other thing I have a problem with is, if it's an airborne virus, why did it just dissipate? Why is this not spreading out? Why is the military not here? And apparently also, yeah, the military does show up. This all spread within a matter of an hour, so there's already military, but why are we not hearing, like, the military has gone on high alert, they heard about the outbreak and they're quartering off the city or the town that we're in? Why is there not, like, why is there not a much heavier response? It's like the military showed up and it's just like, you know what, fuck it, just the outbreak's here, screw it. There's nothing after that. It just doesn't, it feels like this town is so isolated that the rest of the world either doesn't know or doesn't give a shit. It just, I don't know, world building was not this game's strong suit. Another minor issue I had with this game is that in chapter 3 and 4, out of the blue, they just started making movie references. Just out of the blue. We saw the DeLorean that I assume is to be referenced to Back to the Future. I saw a pinball machine referencing Terminator, Polybius, another machine referencing, I can't remember, some like TV show about some warrior princess, I think. There was another one referencing Men in Black, that's it. Like, and they're dead on references, but like they just came out of the blue. They were all cluttered into one area. They weren't spread out. They weren't something you had to go find. They were all just cluttered into one house, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I appreciate that you guys were thinking about these. I see where you took inspiration. But maybe you should have spread them out throughout the city, so that way, like, they were just so on the nose. Like, it wasn't even anything that you could have missed. It was right in front of you. I just feel, like I said, it's nitpicking, but I feel like if you're going to do references, leave them in places where you're not going to notice them or where you have to take a second glance. It was right in your face. It was just so blatant. The puzzles were either super complex and annoying, or they were super simple and just basic and you got through it. I feel like Resident Evil has a very consistent tone with their puzzles. Like, I think it's usually in the ballpark of it makes you think. This game doesn't make you think at all. It's just either really hard or really stupid. Also, just talking from a functional standpoint, one problem I had with this game too is, at times, it seems like the enemies' animations did not sync up with their speed. So at times it looked like they were almost ice skating across the floor. Also, speaking of the zombies, they didn't really explain this one well enough, but for some reason the zombies don't bite you, they just spit acid on you, and then once you die, they just let you go. Like, ah, okay. Yeah, I threw up on them enough, it's cool. It's done. Which is kind of weird in my opinion. I don't know why they're not trying to eat you, but okay, whatever. And also, speaking of animations, I've noticed a number of times the characters' animations look like something out of Source Film Studio. Pretty much any of those Half-Life or Gary's Mod videos you would see made by people using Source, it looked like that. It looked like something out of Source. Granted, this is a AA game with probably a low budget, so sure, I can give them some credit, but at times it didn't work, especially when you had shitty voice acting, with voice actors that were not properly following their lines and constantly made mistakes. And again, my biggest problem is these guys never looked back and proofread. And one of the biggest issues I had with this game too, biggest issue of all, at certain times, I would have this bug where I'd have to reload a save because I would not be able to do anything. I could not function with anything in the world. I could not raise my gun. I could not reload my gun. I could not go into my inventory. I couldn't do shit. And the only way to fix it was to reload a checkpoint. So thankfully the checkpoints are all relatively close to one another, but it's really annoying when you have to keep reloading because the game doesn't want to work. Honestly, I don't think this game was beta tested. This game was made on a shoestring budget, and it makes me wonder if the devs really cared or if this was a money grab. I'm honestly not sure. Overall, guys, the quick gist of this is Poorly written story, poorly made characters, poor animations, very well thought out ideas that were very poorly implemented. I think honestly there are a number of things that they could have done differently with this game that would have made it better, and maybe they didn't because they didn't care, or maybe they didn't because they just couldn't, or they just weren't thinking about it at the time. Overall, this game could have been so much better, and I really don't have much faith for 1994. That's another problem that I have, I think I said with 1994, that for some reason the Hades operators have more advanced tech in 1994 than they did in 1998. Like, tech took a step back going forward for some reason. I don't understand. Also, I noticed during the trailers there were cutscenes that just aren't present in the game or don't seem to be present. I give up with this game. I managed to beat it in 2 streams, thankfully. Apparently it took me 10 hours to beat this game. Let's hope I never have to play this ever again. For this video, I am going to have gameplay footage of the Hades mode, which is basically their... What is it that Resident Evil has? Mercenaries. The Mercenaries mode. This is basically Resident Evil's Mercenaries mode, but Daymare. But, as always, guys, thank you so much for putting up with this nightmare that was Daymare. Thank you for joining me. Despite me wanting to pull my hair out and put my head through a wall, I enjoyed my time with you guys during the stream, and I'm glad that I could show you guys this dumpster fire that is this game. And I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, I'm always open to new ideas for the channel. I'm always open to playing different games for the channel. I do have a couple ideas of what I want to stream, but I don't know just yet, but I will let you guys know on Twitter, as always. But guys, thank you so much for joining me through this, and thank you for all the love and support these last couple of years. And thank you for the help and support during this stream, because good lord, I needed it. Because this game does not want to give you proper directions. I will see you guys around the next one. As always, like it if you like it, dislike if you dislike it. I will see you around. Thank you and have a good night.